What is up, Steeler Nation? We are back for another great episode on the one and only The Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. I am Jay York Football. Alongside of me, as always, looking dapper. Let's show that Muth shirt, by the way.
Man, I
You
tell you
know,
what,
handle a Muth.
you're my new fashion designer, bro. Every shirt I wear these days, you buy me. I mean, this is absolutely sick right here. Shout out our boy Pat Fryermuth. I know he's also lending a big hand this week, stepping up to do some big things. So always love, having a good fashion designer like you. I appreciate you, man. You make me look good.
No problem. I'll add it to the resume as well.
Yeah.
With that being said, man, we have a great guest today. Always love when we get to have these Pitt guys on. You know, me and you both, we're up in the press box for Pitt and, love to contribute. So really excited. So, Jimmy, let's kick it.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. Steelers Crazy.
Harris Smith shields. Flacco Polamalu takes it home. Super Bowl 43. Pittsburgh might be bound for that thanks to number 43.
The sickest Pittsburgh Steelers podcast. Sports entertainment like no other. It's gonna be sick.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We're super excited, man. He is not only one of the most decorated kickers in Pitt history, he's definitely one of the most decorated kickers in all of college football. He's not going all that far. We're excited that he's going, from the south side to the south side. He's here on the Steelers Crazy podcast today. It's our guy, Ben Sauls. Ben, what is up, man?
How we doing today, guys? Man, I appreciate you having me. It's a blast. Seriously, I'm a Pittsburgh guy. I was going to say I love that shirt earlier, too. That's pretty tough. But, no, I'm happy to stay. Obviously, I'm happy to be in Pittsburgh. It's great.
We got to get you on one. Something like Kicking It with Sauls, or I'm sure you probably had a million. Like, what is the show? Breaking Bad or Saul reference?
Call Saul.
Call Saul.
I haven't heard that one before, I'm sure.
I've heard several references. Some are shirt appropriate and some are definitely not. But there's some good ideas out there, that's for sure.
All right, we could workshop that, no doubt about it, no doubt about it. Well, the Steeler hat looks fire, talking about wardrobes over here, but of course, I want to start with the journey. How you got to this point. Obviously, you were just telling us off air. It's been a crazy couple of months. I mean, we'll talk Pitt shortly here, but just tell us about the craziness of these past few months. After the season, leading into the draft process.
Sure. I mean, everyone certainly has, especially like seniors going into their draft class. They all have, a really good opinion on themselves. And, I think that I was, a really, really good college kicker and I was ready for the NFL. And so I had, high hopes and I was happy that they worked out here in Pittsburgh. But the journey was wild. I trained in Buffalo with my kicking coach. We had indoor facilities, thank God, because it was negatives. Every day it was negatives. But from Buffalo, traveled to Orlando, did the Shrine Bowl in Dallas, and then pro day in Pittsburgh. So just bouncing around, trying to stay loose, trying to obviously keep the kicking form in shape. And then draft day came around, and it was a blessing that I was able to get a call from the Steelers after the draft had just ended. I mean, it didn't take long at all, 5-10 minutes, and it was set. And it was very obvious. Like I always wanted to play here. But like it was sick. Like seriously, like having that opportunity, like I was like in the back of my head, I was like, maybe not. I don't know. But it's just one of those things where you have to like, the outcome is not in my hands. All I can do is kick footballs.
Yeah, it's funny. You mentioned cold weather up in Buffalo, nothing you're not accustomed to. That's for sure. You kicked in arguably the toughest home stadium to kick in the NFL, not just college football. So tell us about that a little bit. How do you think that helped you prepare for, this next opportunity?
I mean, definitely a resume builder when I can say I kicked at Heinz, Acrisure, AFC North on NFL terms. When I can say I kicked there and I kicked there successfully, definitely builds the resume. And I was told, do you guys remember the name Alex Kessman?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, so he told me in high school, he said, if you want to go to the NFL, come here, kick well, you'll get a great shot. And so, when I was 17, I think is when I first met him. That was pretty much my deciding factor. It's like if I can go here and perform, I'll get a good opportunity.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And this is certainly a great opportunity because you also get to work with Chris Boswell. And I know obviously you're quite familiar with him. I'm sure you'll say he's one of the best kickers in the National Football League as well. How have your experiences been so far? Talk a little bit about OTAs and what has the experience been like throughout this minicamp?
Sure. I mean, so take it back 4 years real quick. I was able to watch and observe from a distance,
Yeah.
and now I'm able to do that right up close and personal. And like you said, I mean, there's no doubt about it. He is the best, if not one of the, but he is the best kicker in the NFL. So to be able to learn is unbelievable. But yeah, OTAs were smooth. I love Danny Smith, our coordinator. He's a great guy. He takes care of us. It's very important, obviously, taking care of our legs, mental health, all that stuff. And he's on top of it. And he really emphasizes special teams. I love that part of it. But I was able to go in an OTAs, and it's a field goal period, no different than it is in college. Just now you're at the pro level, and it's time to perform. And there's no longer having bad days anymore. You know what I mean? So it was good. And I'll be honest with you, I got to perform well, and I got to do my thing. And make my kicks, which is my job. And so OTAs overall, in my head, it went really well.
That's awesome, man. Danny Smith, that guy, he's going to have energy at the 97 years old. He'll be somehow running laps and chewing gum. Everybody always mentions that, just what a personality and a guy that we've been fortunate to have in Pittsburgh for a long time. Go ahead, Jordan.
Yeah, so let's shift gears a little bit. Talk about your career at Pitt and what it was like. I seen that interview you put out. Coach Narduzzi, obviously, Pitt and the Steelers share the same facility. Just kind of talk what it was like playing under him and what a great coach he was.
Deuce is a player's coach. He loves his guys, and it's not any type of BS. He loves his guys. If he brought you in, it was for a reason, and he'll have your back if you're willing to see it through. He'll have your back all the way through. So obviously, I had a little bit of troubles at first because I was supposed to fill the shoes of Alex Kespin. Took me another year to do so, but even in that space of me struggling, he always was emphasizing like how talented I was, and I was his guy, and it's as long as you can prove it, you're gonna have an opportunity to play here. So I was able to put it all together eventually and obviously play for him. But my experience at Pitt was great. I got to play with some very, very talented players, and very good people, and the coaching staff was always tremendous. There's a saying that about being a Pitt man, and the kind of I guess the standards and characteristics that comes with. And I was a little 18-year-old excited to one day become a Pitt man, no different than Kenny Pickett or Jimmy Morrissey and Pat Jones, all these guys that were some Pitt greats. And my time at Pitt was amazing.
It's great. Well, yeah, we really appreciate watching you. I know that I remember that bowl game like it was yesterday. What would you say your favorite kick that you made, and now in range wise, like where would you put yourself? Like what's the longest field goal you ever made, and what do you feel comfortable at that you're like, I know it's like saying it, but like what would you say is your distance?
I mean, I think in the NFL you have to be comfortable from 60.
Mm-hmm.
And I think everybody is for the most part. I'd say about 95%, 90% is more than comfortable from 60. I'm up there. That's more than fine. And then you can start talking about 62, 63, 65, maybe you got a breeze at your back. But yeah, no, it's crazy how the NFL has changed because, 10 years ago, you go out and make 50-yard field goal, it's about a 50-50. If you make it, great. If you don't, it's okay. But nowadays it's expected. They're kicking more 50-yard field goals, and kickers are making more of them. Each percentage is higher than it has been. And when we saw Aubrey attempt a 70-yarder last year, I think.
Yeah.
So it's pretty incredible. So in that aspect, yeah, if you want to play at this level and you want to have an opportunity, you got to have a leg. And so yeah, no doubt. I was kind of irritated, not irritated, but we hit 58 at Pitt last year, and I missed a 59, and that was something else. I was upset, but I always wanted that long, like 62, 63, whatever it may be, to chase that record in Hines. But for now, Boss still has it.
Hey, never say never. Oh, so what would you say your favorite kick was? Like
Overall, gosh, I would say, I mean, in my head, it's the Sun Bowl.
That's what I was referring to. Yeah, I watched that.
I mean, it was just so windy, and the whole game was like that game. If you were on the team, especially, like we were down a lot of guys, and that was a good UCLA team. and we had a lot of guys step up, and I was able to do something with Nick Patty. I mean, that last drive he put together to put me in range.
Yeah.
And so honestly, there was never a doubt in my mind about that game, about that kick. I even told our tight ends coach at the time was Coach Salem, and that morning at breakfast, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, I'm going to hit a game winner today," you know.
Wow.
And so
You
it happened.
manifested it.
You got to.
Before I throw it back over to Mike, obviously you're at the NFL level now. What are you looking to improve the most? Obviously, being a sponge from all these guys that've been doing it, but what are your game in particular? What are you trying to improve on the most?
I think I think professionalism is a little vague, but in that aspect, by professionalism, um, really emphasizing taking care of your body, emphasizing your intentions every single day. There's not an hour or a minute to waste. And, ask questions, understand that, granted, you have made it to this level. You have a lot more to learn. You're a young guy, and to be, like you said, be a sponge. So with kicking, like my form is there. And so it's just every kicker will tell you too, like, what do you want to get better at? Accuracy. Like, let's go 100%.
Yeah.
100% it's not attainable in anything you do. You could be 99.9, but 100% is just not something that's going to happen. But chasing that perfection all the time will bring you excellence. And that is the expectation here in Pittsburgh.
I like that. Mike?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm just curious. I watched a lot of great lefty kickers growing up, thinking of guys like Janikowski and going back to when I was a kid, David Akers. Did you have a favorite kicker growing up or somebody that you used to watch or try and emulate?
Emulate, no, because I at the end of the day, like you said, there's not a lot of kickers, and Janikowski, he was very unique in his style. He was a little bit unorthodox. But emulate, no. What you can do is you can take things from each guy, and kind of put it towards your form. But everyone really does kick just a little bit different. It's just you take some pieces from each guy, whether it's how tall he stands or how far he is from the ball or what kind of steps he takes, stuff like that. But the thing I like to watch more often is the mental side of it. And you can't dive into these guys' heads, but you can watch them on the sideline. How do they go about, it's the third quarter, maybe they haven't kicked a field goal all game. What are they doing? Well, what can I emulate that? Can I kind of see, like, get an idea of what's going on through their head? But no, it's fascinating, and I think that Boz's mental game is unbelievable. So that is honestly what I'm most excited to get to be a part of and get to learn from.
Is that something where you tell yourself just to be like as even keel, neutral as possible? Not too high, not too low. Obviously, they tell quarterbacks you throw an interception, erase it from the mind immediately. But I would imagine that's similar with kicking, is just to stay as calm, cool, and collected at all times as you can.
Yeah, I mean, easier said than done, of course. But at the end of the day, like, I don't think kickers really look at it as makes and misses. At least, obviously that ball you want it to go in, but kickers, they what they do is they aim and they have a line. They kick on a line. And you get so good that even if you deviate from that line, it goes in. Um, but no, it's the short-term memory. It's the fact that, you're comfortable with yourself as a kicker to where a miss doesn't define you. And you get guys, it's funny, you could pick a stadium. SMU is the worst, but you miss a kick and you're 5 feet away from the student section right behind you. They're going to hammer you all day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like, it is all about really what you think about yourself, because in order to make the big field goal, you got to accept the possibility of missing it. It's sacrifice the outcome type of mindset. So what you can't do is miss two in a row. That's the goal.
Jordan, you got anything else?
Yeah, so obviously, like, looking for, you said your life's been kind of crazy. Who did call you from the Steelers? Was it just like a scout? Was it just did Mike Tomlin, Omar Khan, like, what was that? Just kind of go back to that experience. Obviously, you were at the combine, but just getting that call in general, like, what was that like? Obviously, you worked hard to get to this moment. Now you're at the NFL level.
It was kind of like a three-way call between them and my agent, so I couldn't tell you exactly who was on. But I got a text from my agent saying they want to hop on, and that was kind of when I geeked out a little bit. And then obviously things got finalized, so I couldn't answer that to be exact. But it was a very good decision by my part and a very good job by my agent.
Yeah, and I'm sure you have a relationship, with some of the Steeler guys already, just sharing the facility and same stadium and everything. So I'm sure that that's kind of like, pretty cool to just be on the other side, literally. Now.
Yeah, there's a lot of familiarity with, like you said, staff, players. The specs would chop it up every once in a while, walking through the indoor facility. But the familiarity is really what's nice, and that even goes all the way from like people in the cafe,
Yeah.
to people up top, and kind of like ads of NFL. Like it just there's so many jobs in the building, and there's so many people I've
Yeah.
been seeing over and over again for a long time. And having that familiarity it made going to the NFL not so nerve wracking.
Yeah. Well, hey, we really appreciate your time. Hell to Pitt. Can't wait to watch you. And no matter where you go and what you do, I'll always be rooting for you, man. So really appreciate your time.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I hope I can juice it out here in Pittsburgh, man. It's home.
We
And
can't
by this point, 5 years later, it's home.
Dude, this preseason we can't wait to watch you crush some bombs. Like I'm assuming you're gonna get some. They're gonna say get out there 60. I know it. I can tell.
We need that 62. So when you point up, just know that it's for us.
60.
Yeah, I will. I'm gonna start manifesting it now, so it happens.
Let's go.
There you go.
Good luck,
hey,
Ben.
Thank you,
guys. I appreciate you. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep.
Thanks for jumping on. He's got a leg. There's no doubt about it.
Oh, I mean, it was
awesome.
unbelievable watching him at Pitt. I mean, I remember that Sun Bowl very vividly. Literally, I think it was. I want to say it was around Christmas time, and I was driving and I was like watching it on my phone, and it just kept going and going, and then I caught like the last 2 minutes, and the Nick Patty game, and he hit all those field goals. So and now he's a Steeler.
Yeah, that was Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a good UCLA team, like you mentioned, and they were a big underdog. Nick Patty came in, provided that big spark, and obviously Better Call Sauls made some huge kicks to win the game. So, listen, I mean, we know Chris Boswell obviously is in place, but nobody ever roots for an injury. But we've seen Boswell go down a few times. I know Matthew Wright was a guy the Steelers would consistently bring back in to kick when he was injured. I mean, Ben Sauls is going to get a job somewhere, whether it's Pittsburgh or somewhere else, I would imagine. But, I won't be shocked if at some point in time this guy is kicking for the Steelers. And if we're going to see it this preseason, hopefully we see it, at some point in his career, because I just think that Nicastro, that Pitt tie, that, it's just really special. So that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, and we can say that we manifested, it here. And, it's going to be fun to watch. I mean, I'll tell you what, and we'll end on this note. I know you're going to agree with me on this. Is that preseason? We're football fans. We cover the Steelers, and what's funny about it is preseason is really the only time that my blood pressure and my anxiety isn't through the roof, because people are like, oh, like the preseason, it doesn't matter. But to me, it's like, I'm rooting for those guys to make the 53-man roster. I'm watching the third and fourth quarter. These guys are playing. Those are the guys that are like, they might seem, oh, well, it's just, listen, those are the guys that are trying to, make it happen. And I really appreciate that, because you see underdog, guys. I mean, James Harrison's a perfect example of someone who is cut multiple times, not drafted. So anything's possible, man. I've seen crazy. Listen, Duck Hodges was our quarterback. So, and I love Duck. We had him on the show before, but anything is possible, man. So never count it out. But just a stellar dude at the end of the day, a great Pitt man. Really excited that he gets an opportunity. I mean, you could tell he loves Pittsburgh. So obviously his time at Pitt was, very good.
I think at the end of the day, like you said, all you need is a chance. That's it. All you need is a chance. And
he's in the building. So.
In the building, he's in the building he was in before, and he's not just a guy that you're like, okay, we have a roster spot open, let's bring him in and allow him to make some kicks. No. This guy's gonna have a job for a long time. I think that's something that I'd put my reputation on. How about that?
All right. Well, we'll end on that note. Well, I hope you guys all have a safe and fun weekend. We'll be back next week. 2 more shows. We're going to keep it rolling. Really great guests coming on. I just really appreciate everyone that's been engaging with us on all our social platforms. It's been great to see everything grow, and we do this for you. Obviously, we enjoy this, but this is, we have these guests on all different types to break everything down, from fantasy, betting, players, analysts, other teams. We'll start having AFC North guys on towards the season. So just excited, man. It's here. Steeler football never sleeps, and we never sleep on the Sick Podcast, Steeler Crazy. So, Jimmy, what?
You're about to.
I'm about to sleep. I'm cue the melatonin.
Do it.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast Steelers Crazy on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.